Welcome. So my guest today is the beautiful Kimberly Grentz. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you.
And I'm going to read you Kimberly's bio straight from how she sent it to me because I just think it's incredibly beautiful. So here we go. Kimberly is an ever-evolving being. Don't you just love that? With over 20 years experience as an early childhood educator. She transitioned from the classroom teacher to advocate for self-directed education in 2017. Real pioneer. And has since opened up to out-of-the-box thinking in all areas of her life. Yay! Kimberly recently rediscovered her natural creative spirit and is now living into the artist life she once only dreamed of. We are going to so talk about that. Her self-healing lifestyle is focused on mindfulness, meditation, and everything energy. Kimberly is a certified emotional code practitioner and is confident that she will be a pivotal part in creating the new world that is now emerging. Welcome, Kimberly. What an amazing intro. I love it, love it, love it.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to write that because, I think we all go through so many different iterations of ourselves. And then even it's so important to be in the present.
Mm.
But having that opportunity to see where I came from and how it informed where I am today,
Yeah.
man, it gave myself goosebumps. And I hope that doesn't sound like in a vain way. It's just
No.
it's so beautiful to watch all of our journeys. And when we see it in ourselves, we can see it in everybody else and vice versa. So
Yeah,
thank
absolutely. And I think too, I remember years ago somebody said, write your own eulogy because then you'll really see what legacy you're leaving and then check in. Is that what you want to leave? And so it's kind of similar when you have to write a little bio introduction for something, isn't it? And explain who you are to somebody else because you know it, but to verbalize it really integrates it at a different level, doesn't it?
100%. Thank you.
So one of the reasons I asked Kimberly to join me, not only is she just a beautiful human being, she's interesting. So she's accomplished in many different areas, which we've covered, and we're going to jump into the first one. So tell me about living the artist life that you only ever dreamed of.
Wow, as a kid, I knew I was an artist. I remember being in first grade and you had to, say what your profession was going to be. And I dressed up as an artist. I had an apron, a smock on, and I, got a painter's palette. And
I love
I
it.
knew I was going to be an artist. And then I don't know what happened, but life happened. And
Mhm.
I know through my healing work that so much of that, innate creativity within me got pushed down because I learned that I got love by achieving, by
Mhm.
studying hard, by getting straight A's, by doing and doing and doing and being, the perfect kid who said the right things. And of course I wasn't perfect, but doing everything as much as I could. And so I didn't give myself the time to be that creative spirit the way I knew I could be. And even my grandmother was an artist. Um, I didn't see it so much in action, but there were paintings all over her house that I knew were hers. And so I lived up to that, like, oh, I could be an artist like Bubby one day. Um, but I didn't know how. And she would buy me beautiful art supplies. But because I had this perfectionism in me that I think was probably a coping mechanism, um, I never knew how to use those things. I was so scared to open them up. I was so scared to not use them in the right way. And then it was also filled with so much lack and scarcity that if I use this all up, it's going to be gone and then I won't have any more. So I'm better use it for the perfect thing. And so it's just been in recent years that through my healing journey that I've learned, just let go. Just let go and trust that there will be more. And if there's not more right away, you're not meant to have that more right now. And so I've really just stepped out and gone in the other direction, allowing myself to just pour all the paints on the paper and smush them around
Yay! Yay, yay.
or just use them all. But
Mm.
I really cracked open boxes of crayons that had my name on them from when I was like 8. in the last few years. Like, it's wild. Some of the art supplies obviously weren't even good anymore. Being sitting around in boxes for 30 years. It's wild. So now I've just been using art as a form of creative expression, as a form of healing. I think we talked about it another time. I just took these chubby crayons. I'm also an early childhood teacher, so I always loved using all the art supplies in my classroom. And so one of the newish art supplies that some of the kids had were these tempera paints that come in sticks. So they're kind of like pastels. They're kind of like sticky and smooth and silky, but they dry just like paint, but they're smooth. And so I just love them. They're bright and vibrant, and they just make me feel so happy. And so I just got a box, not too expensive, but I'm just going to take these out and do whatever I want with them. And I had some big pieces of cardboard, and I just intentionally thought about things that were making me frustrated and angry that I was working through my healing. And I created these things. There was not supposed to be a product, but they're hanging all over my room. They were cathartic. I like one side is like, "Arr," but then I flipped it over to the other side and it turned out into these like beautiful flowers and just amazing. And so now I've just been letting myself be much more free, and I love the products, and I have no judgment. Like there's no good or bad. It's just whatever, it's a piece of me. And that is what art is. And so I think it's that too. Like, what is the definition of art and what makes you an artist? And to me, every single one of us, everybody who's watching this right now, you're an artist. I'm an artist. Crystal's an artist. We are all, and it's not because of credentials. It's not because of experience. It's not because of what was sold where. But yeah, it's amazing. And when somebody offered to buy something that I was simply just sharing, and I didn't sell it because it was mine, and it just means so much to me. But somebody sent me a message and said, I would love to buy this work or something similar. And I was just like, what? But
That
that's still not what makes me an artist, but it just values it, like shows me this thing that to me was just an expression of myself
Mm.
can also impact other people. And that's just part of who we are in the world. And artistry is just one element of that.
Absolutely. There are so many things in that answer that I want to talk about. I don't know if I can remember them all, but let's go back to the beginning where I think you touched on something that is going to resonate with so many people that watch this video is the perfectionism. How many of us, I know so many women in their 70s and 80s that come back to art and creativity, whether it's embroidery or painting or drawing, whatever expression it is. And that's like, I shut this down as a child. I have spent all of this time, or I know I've got incredibly strong perfectionist tendencies, and they have stopped me from drawing and painting because I can't yet, notice my words, I can't yet render in a realistic style that meets my inner perfectionist needs. So that's a whole different thing. And then the scarcity thing is a whole nother wound. Sometimes they're conjoined, sometimes they're not. It's like, these are too precious. I remember you got your new box of pencils at school and I didn't want to break into them. I'd use the old ones because they were still too precious. It's like, no, let's just live for the moment. Let's get them out and scribble. So even though it took 30 odd years, I am so glad that you have now reached that place of freedom within yourself where you are able to express freely. And how does it feel? How does it feel when you do that?
So liberating. And also I'm still on the journey, as we all are, but it's so liberating. And every time I do create, this is me. There's so much I know right now, even just speaking about it, there's so much in here that is yet to be discovered. And it's because I'm still those, whether it's the perfectionist or scarcity or who knows what, um, I know, oh, this would be a good day to create. And I have some excuse so many times.
Mm.
There's something it's too much work. I have to pull it all out. Then I have to put it all away. It's such a mess, right? And these are so many excuses that we also have for not allowing our children to be creative.
Yeah.
Don't want to do those things where really, the question is why? Why not? Like, what are you going to lose? And so, yeah, when I do allow myself to do it, whoo, it's amazing. And so, yeah, thank you for reminding me. I
Yeah,
need that
well,
reminder again and again and again. I mean,
yeah.
I even got into making malas, which is, hand beading and tying each knot with intention, but picking out the crystals that I was going to use, and deciding who it was going to be for. And I just love
Yeah,
that working with your hands to create something that is going to be used in the world. It's just such a blessing. And I think it's innately who we are. We're made to create. But
absolutely.
this world of like innovation and technology takes so many of those opportunities for normal everyday creating out of the way, right? Like use a paper plate. We don't need to use these beautiful ceramic plates. Therefore, we don't need to make these beautiful ceramic plates. We don't, right? There's so many different levels to that. So I'm going off on a tangent, but I
I
love creating. So it's beautiful.
Absolutely. And I do think there is a movement, a return to appreciating craftsmanship. I think a lot of the younger people in their 20s coming up are very much into repurposing clothing. It's about the environment, but it's also coming back to, I would like to see an end to fast fashion. Somebody like me who loves clothes, I might spend 6 months making a gown entirely by hand, because it's fully embellished, but there is craftsmanship in that. And I would like to see a slowing down of that, which is partly what COVID was all about, slow down, work out what's valuable, work out that, being in nature is helpful for most people, and that busyness need to change. And I think we need as a society to change our values and to make time. If we value the creative process, the craftsmanship that comes from it, we will make time for it. But one of the reasons I hold weekly in-person classes, or I make weekly bookings with my students online or fortnightly, is so that they've got that schedule. They've set that time aside and they're accountable to me. They've paid for it, so they have to show up and come. Otherwise, they'll let the busyness of life kind of, just continue on. But one of the beautiful little things that you just spoke about was the intent that you're creating. So one of the reasons that I have always been drawn to embroidery is because it's a meditative process, like knitting or crochet. When you are working with something that's tactile, that's rhythmic and repetitive, it slows our busy little minds down and we get into a meditative flow state. And I will always, if I'm doing a wedding gown or a special occasion dress, or when I used to make baby blankets, no matter if I'm making a gift for somebody, as I'm stitching it or creating it, I will weave the intention that I wish for that person into it. Is it love? Is it joy? Is it success? Whatever it is, And I think some people will think that's a little bit woo-woo, but honestly, I have seen the power of it so many times, and it's so important.
Oh, can I throw something else in there?
Please.
And it's like bubbling up within me. I can just feel the importance of this. And we actually had scheduled, maybe we were going to do this interview another time, and this was here and it just popped back in. So this was again divine timing, and it's so beautiful how everything weaves. But the power and the creativity and the intent in cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking is art. I
Yeah.
mean, it really is. And when we infuse that food with love, when we chop those vegetables and cut that fruit and have the intention of filling that food with love, it tastes different.
Yeah.
It's like when you think of going to a grandma's, excuse me, go to grandma's, and there's that chicken soup from her recipe passed down over generations. It's because there was intent
Yeah.
infused in every generation that cooked that soup. And when it's served in front of you with this person with love, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
When you buy a painting, or you buy a mala, or you get a beautifully handmade dress.
Yeah.
And so when that's an everyday, we really need to do that. We need to sustain ourselves every day. So for anybody who is having trouble getting into expressing themselves, that's a beautiful first place to do it.
Yeah.
My partner of 10 years, if we would have an argument, here, let me take this up. If we would have an argument while I was cooking, he would not eat it. This would make me so mad. And back in the day, I'd be like, what do you mean you're not going to eat it? Like, we're already like, spatting. But But now, it's probably about 5 years later, that was early on, I totally get it.
Mm.
I had infused that food in both of us, like that energy, and we could have shifted that, right? With no, but there's just so much power in our intention in everything we do. And really, that just brings me back to everything is art, no matter what we do. When
Yeah.
we rock a baby to sleep, there's a beautiful art in that. You're being creative in the song and the way that you rock in that connection, looking into another's eyes. So it's so beautiful to see the world through a different lens, that everything is beauty.
Yeah.
Art is beauty, beauty is art.
Yeah. Because my intent with all my creativeness is, one, I love color. So working with color is what lights me up. But my intention is to bring more beauty into the world because I think the world needs it. And for many years, I really struggled with that, and I wouldn't talk about it openly because it sounded egotistical or surface level, and that's not where I meant it. It was like beauty is subjective, right? So I work in a muted palette in a very feminine way. I know a lot of other artists work in bold, bright colors and big marks and whatever. It's all beautiful, but it's all subjective. And I think anything that uplifts, that helps us connect, that's beauty. And that expression through art is so, so important. And I so agree with you about the cooking because, yeah, it's a beautiful place to start instead of coming home at the end of the day when we're tired, to slow down, to put that intent. And can you imagine the difference, in the room if you're working with a family, instead of just slapping things together and you're tired and you just want to sit down and watch Netflix, rather than just slowing down, including people, can you chop this for me, bring it all in. And yeah, just the intent alone will make the food. And if you've grown the food, even
Oh,
better, because then it's magic food. It's a live food that's full of your own beautiful energy because you've grown it. And I actually believe that as you tend to your garden, your plants will grow with the vitamins and minerals that you specifically need. So I read some books about this many years ago and I thought, oh, that's just rubbish. I don't believe that. But I have proven it, because if I talk to my plants and I stroke them, and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you for growing. I know you're just getting the perfect nurturants, that my body needs. There's that extra layer of magic that goes into our cooking.
absolutely. But thank you for, I have heard that, but I haven't
Mm.
really delved into it. And that's just so beautiful. Oh, I love it. And even once you take those foods that you've then nourished into being exactly what you need, then the arrangement on your plate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I first worked with a preschool teacher, and she made sure that when we prepared snack for these preschoolers, she always would make these fruits look like beautiful fans or like into the shape of a fish. Or and I was like, why are you wasting time doing that? This is my 20-year-old self who had no idea about aesthetics or the point of any of that. And
Yeah.
now, oh my goodness, how special do you feel when someone presents you with a plate of beautifully prepared food? It
Yeah.
means something. They took time and heart.
Absolutely. And what a role model for those children.
Yes.
She was teaching them how to practice beauty through nurturing, through food on an everyday level. And they're only tiny little ones. So, so valuable. All right, that's going to lead me into your self-directed education. Let's just touch on that briefly, because I think that most people in the world will agree that our school systems are in crisis, that we are not giving our children a balanced, healthy education, especially in the US. There's a lot of violence, a lot of horrific things that we haven't experienced here in Australia yet. But I think there's a real call for community schooling, homeschooling. We have Montessori and Steiner schools here. So talk a little bit about your feelings about, self-directed education.
So my background is in early childhood education, and I've always worked in high quality centers where, there's a lot of research behind it. But really, it just goes back to old school nurturing, in that children should be learning through play. They should
Mm.
be experiencing the world. The curriculum truly is life. And for a baby, every moment is learning. Those first year, first 3 years, first 7 years are the most foundational, way more important than college in my point of view. Um, and so and I was working at a university lab school, so I was working with people who were really passionate about that. And we had students in the classroom who were then learning, and that I was responsible for teaching once I, was in that mentor position. And so I was really in the depths of this, not realizing the disconnect.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, when kids turn 5, they don't just stop being curious about life. They don't just suddenly have no idea what they want to learn or no idea how to do anything. But that's the way we treat them by, okay, you turn 5, now you're going to school, or 4 or 6, depending on where you live. Um, and now you must sit in a desk and we're going to learn these specific things that someone created. And really, the school system is very old and has not changed very much at all. And
Mm.
our world has changed dramatically.
Mm. Yeah.
We're in the information age right now. It's not really about what you know in any particular moment. It's whether you can find the information you want to know.
Mm.
And the schools did not shift to that. Maybe they learn a little bit about computer systems and different things, but the school is still very much about, here are these particular parts of the curriculum. These are the subjects you need to know in order to be a proficient adult in the world. But really, it's just not.
Mm.
Because what is the proficient adult in the world? There's an endless number of things we can be in the world. The school system was based on teaching you how to move into a factory system where you're going and you're learning how to hear a bell and switch to the next thing. You're learning how to follow rules. You're learning how to conform. You're learning how to compete. That's not the world we live in right now. We live in a world where teamwork really benefits you. We live in a world where you can go out and create and be a totally novel thinker, come up with ideas that no one's ever had before, and that's what's going to serve you well. It's not being able to regurgitate what you just learned in a book.
Yeah.
And so the school system just is not serving our population the way we need. And also I wrote down socialization, because so many people, when they think of homeschool, they're like, yeah, but the kids need to be socialized. And this is just a load of bull. Because socialization, homeschool, they can spend all day with a variety of people from all the different generations. The homeschool communities that I'm a part of, we're going out, we're meeting, all different people. We go to the library, we go on all different field trips, we're meeting people, we're part of the community. In school, they sit in one room, or maybe they move throughout different rooms with one or two teachers all day with the same group of kids, whether they like them or not. There's no choice, there's no autonomy. In the world, in a homeschool world, you're learning how to be in society from a
Mm.
young age. So those kids, often homeschooled kids, especially unschooled kids, are entrepreneurs by the time they're 5, 6, 7, because it just makes sense. I want to find a way to share my gifts. I want to find out a way to share, and learning about the money system as it currently is. This is how we sell, we trade. And so, yeah, I feel like I could go on and on and on forever and ever, but um, really just following the lead of the children
Mm.
is how we learn too.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to learn a new style of embroidery or a new handicraft or a new style of painting or whatever it is that you're interested in, you go and take a class, or you find somebody who's done it before you and then you learn. It's not forced down your throat. If
Yeah.
you really want to go study that, nobody else is over here saying, oh, no, 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 but you have to learn how to cook beef stroganoff,
Mm.
which is what's happening in school.
Yeah.
Kids may have great passions, but they're not allowed the time or energy to go pursue those because they have to do this curriculum.
Yeah.
And that's just killing kids. They get to a certain place that they just give up. Their wills are broken.
Mm.
And that's where so many of us right now are just coming back, dialing back, unlearning everything, all of that conditioning that we need to please other people. We need to do what other people want so that we can find again what our passions are, so that we can discover, hey, I wanted to be an artist when I was in first grade, and it's
Yeah.
okay. I can do that now at 42.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I missed a lot of years in between.
Yeah. I just so oh, so many things going through my mind. All right. So sovereignty is my big word at the moment. And I think for 2023, sovereignty is going to be a huge word for everybody.
Mhm.
And I think what's missing in the school system is each of us is such a unique expression. And we all have a gift in some area, or we're drawn to some area. You know, I'm highly creative. I can't do maths, not interested in science. There's other people that technology and science and numbers, and that's their thing. And there's very little room. Yes, you do art, you do maths, you do science, but really you're forced to do everything. You're forced to fit into a hole. It's like, imagine taking a small child, seeing their gift early on, and then giving them the chance to expand in that in whatever way is unique to them and express it out to the world. Our world would transform within a generation. And
100%.
yeah, I'm just so looking forward to that day. Let alone all the poor people that get shut down by age, what, 15 at the latest, and then go through 10, 20, 30 years or a lifetime of they gave up, hopelessness. You know, they lost their spark, and that's just tragic, really tragic.
It is.
But yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to, yes, new ways of being, new school systems, new energetic worlds of creativity coming through. So should we talk about your work as an emotional code practitioner as well?
Sure, sure. Oh, that has just been the most beautiful. I mean, it was just a synchronicity to begin with. I started meditating a lot, and all of a sudden, a string of different signs and just little things brought me to a thrift store where I read this book. And within a few days, I could not stop practicing this energy healing modality on everybody and anyone who would let me. So my mom, the dogs, um, every family member. And really, it's the essence of it is that it's a really simple and effective way to bring up the emotional baggage that all of us have so much of from when we're in
From that
school.
school system.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't even tell you how, I mean, probably every single client has memories of, oh yeah, that was from school. I was bullied.
Yeah.
Or I was, which even if you just think of that idea, that bullying, they have no choice,
Yeah.
right? If you go to a job and you have somebody right now as an adult who is picking on you, you have a choice to leave that job.
Yeah.
You have a choice to do something about that. In school, there's no choice. But anyway, so
No,
bringing that back.
let's just stop there, because when you were talking before and talking about socialization and people saying homeschool don't, I completely agree with you, because if you're bullied at school, in primary school, and then you go all the way through, that sets your pattern for your lifetime. You're not getting socialized at school, you're getting bullied, you're getting traumatized. And you know, that's not going to happen in homeschool, because that kind of environment won't be tolerated. And then yeah, visiting the different members of community. I think the whole it takes a village to raise a child. There's so much value in all the different generations and what it brings. So yeah, absolutely. All right, back to energy.
Yeah. And it just, I mean, it's so beautiful. It's all intermingled. As you were saying all of that, it just, you know, it doesn't happen in homeschool in the same way, but it can still happen.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is that if you're homeschooling your children, and this is why it's not an immediate answer, right? Because not everybody can just jump to homeschool. There's socioeconomic reasons. I mean, there's tons of reasons
Yeah.
why not everybody can suddenly homeschool. But when you decide that you're going to dedicate your life to homeschooling your kids, you're going to be intricately involved with your children.
Yeah.
You're going to be paying attention in unschooling, self-directed education that I'm very, very much an advocate of. It's not easy. It's way easier to just send your kids to school and let somebody else teach them stuff versus paying attention to their interests and jumping on them, which is all part of that creativity. It's all part of that art. So all of this is intertwined. But as a result of that, you have to be in your kids' paying attention to what they like to do, what video games they want to play, if you're going to let them go down that route, what kind of art they're interested in, so that you can then be that facilitator to give them new ideas. Let's go on this field trip. Let's do these different things. And so it's your job to give them not only, academic things, learning about math and science in nice, authentic, real world ways, like cooking and shopping and those kinds of things, but also to learn what they want. I lost my train of thought. Give me one second. Oh, sorry. I like had a really clear path of where I was going. I'm so sorry. Wait, tell me. Oh, socialization. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, and then we were going to move back to how the emotional code, comes in, because if we weren't bullied at school, we didn't create that pattern, and we don't have to spend the next 20 years unconditioning ourselves to get to the goal. Yeah.
Perfect. Got it. Social emotional learning. And this is where in early childhood and in all of that teaching that I did, that's what really we were lacking so much of, is giving children the foundation of social emotional skills, of knowing how to listen to their bodies and to know what they're feeling and to be able to express themselves and to say, no, I don't want you to hit me.
Yeah.
Not just to say, not to just have a fist fight back, or like there's so many different ways that people have handled this through the years, and that it's handled through school, changing your colors on charts and different things, where the social emotional foundation is everything. And so what I say with the emotion code is I do work with families, I work with children, but I really love working with their parents, even if it's an issue with the kids, because what I say is that the social emotional development of children is based on the social emotional development and healing of their caregivers, because most of us did not have a healthy social emotional upbringing.
Yeah.
And so now it's going back. And so what we can do is, if there are different issues in someone's life, physical, you can have acute issues like headaches or different aches and pains and tension in your body, or it can be, more chronic things like, why do I have a block from finding my true love? Why am I so reactive to all of these different family members? We can ask your subconscious, are there any emotions that are trapped in the body that are contributing to that? And can we release them? It feels magical. It's not. There's science to it, but it feels amazing, because we can just talk to your subconscious mind, bring up these emotions with an exact age, and then we just release them. We run our hand over the governing meridian, which is just having the intention that we're going to transmute this energy. And most people feel something in the moment. They feel shivers, they feel hot or cool, different sensations. And they leave sessions feeling a little lighter. And over continued sessions, they're able to make real change. So I've had, social anxiety issues disappear or dramatically get better. I've had kids who would never wanted to sleep on their own now go to bed willingly every night. Adults who weren't in a place to have a relationship are now opened up to it. Like, it's wild that we're able to do this kind of stuff. But this is, again, the future. This energy work, everything is energy. And so creativity with art, all of this is connected. So it's so wonderful to be able to pull it all together.
Absolutely. And I loved your, the last line in your bio says that you're going to be a pivotal part in creating the new world that is now emerging. And I think, so many of us in the arts and creativity have the understanding that the world is changing and evolving, and that we're such a huge part of that. And for me, I've always felt that the arts haven't been valued in our society to the level that they need to be. And that's kind of like my little mission in life, to get people to really understand the value of creating, no matter how you express it. We are creative beings on any level. So I'm not just talking about the arts. I'm not just talking about food or the garden. I'm talking about when we go to work, we are creating, and we're creating societies. We're creating, we're now a global society. We're all connected. COVID has connected us and made us equal in the world. And I think, it's super exciting to think about what's coming, to think about these younger generations that are going to be educated differently, to think about a world where art and creativity is valued as much as science and mathematics. That's the world I want to live in. Because when those two come together and we work in teams and we work in collaboration, magic will happen. And I'm super excited to see, some of the people I talk to say that by 2030, we're not even going to recognize the world that we're living in. We're going to evolve so much in the next few years. So what are your thoughts around creativity and the new world, and what do you see?
It's wild. I mean, I truly have no idea. But I think every day, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have no idea. I think that the possibilities are endless.
Mm,
But like you, I feel into it every single day. And it is all about creating.
mm,
It's each of us coming to the table with those innate creative skills that we're all born with and sharing them with the world. As you were talking, I suddenly could just see people dancing together and weaving together and building together again. And it's not that we have to get rid of or reject the technology that we have, because it's brought us some beautiful things, but it's reclaiming, like you said, reclaiming some of these old ways that did allow us to truly express and to connect in this deeper way.
mm,
And so that is what I am just super excited. I'm covered in chills. Super excited to be a part of and to witness. Um, because that is what I'm seeing. I'm more connected than ever before with people from around the world, thanks to the internet and thanks to all of these different technological advances. And we're all creating stuff. We're creating new things. We're healing enough that we can move out of those old comfort zones where we had to just work normal 9 to 5 jobs. Even for people who are still doing that,
mm,
there's a little bit of freedom. They're starting to pull and they're being encouraged with
mm,
by people like us who are doing a little more and a little more. And if every person creates a little more and says, hey, why don't you come create? Creates a little more over here. Why don't you come create? And that word create is huge. It could be using your voice to sing. It could be using your voice to write poetry, writing. It can be visual arts. It can be theater. There's so many different things. But if everyone creates a little more, shares a little more, takes in a little more, that is, those are the threads that are
mm.
going to weave this whole new world.
Yeah.
And it's, so much has been about automating things
Mhm.
and taking away the creativity. And I think we're just in a renaissance.
Yeah.
We're in a whole new place where we're just going to reclaim this creativity at a new level,
Yeah.
where it's not just the foundation of like what we need to survive. Creativity is going to be honored for the value that it makes us feel. And
Mm,
when we as a people feel uplifted by listening to a beautiful song, and we feel uplifted by looking at this beautiful mural, that vibration, and this is where I have no idea, but that vibration raising on the planet is what's going to make change that we cannot begin to comprehend.
mm.
And
Yeah.
so I've never said it that way before, but I
No.
just feel that waves through my body.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's beautiful. So thank you for asking that question.
You expressed it beautifully. It's like, I think we might wrap the interview up there, because honestly, I was going to go down another tangent, but I just think that that is so beautiful that we'll just wrap with that, because yeah, it took what I've always felt, that real, love science and technology, love the internet. Look at us, we're now connected because of Zoom. My students are all over the world. I love that. I love the fact that you're in America and I'm in Australia and we can have this chat. It's truly a blessing. And I think when creativity and art is joined together with technology, when humanity and community is joined together with technology, that's when the magic will really, really start to come. And yeah, you articulated it just beautifully. So thank you. You are always an inspiration. I love talking to you and spending time with you. Is
Right back at you. I just have to say, you, however I articulated it, you brought it all back together in this again. I just feel like you put the icing on the cake, and what an honor to have been here
Ah,
today. Thank you.
thank you. So, Kimberly, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up, or how are you feeling?
I think I feel amazing. It feels
That's where you want
so,
to be.
I feel so uplifted. This was such a beautiful experience. I'm truly honored and blessed that you asked me to do this today. And thank you to everyone who's watching.
Oh, that's great. So if you feel drawn to work with me with embroidery or art therapy, you can, I'll put my website below. And Kimberly, where can people find you? Tell people where you are in America and how they can connect with you.
Okay. So currently I am in Yuma, Arizona, which is the southwesternmost corner of the US, down um, on the border of California and Mexico, but I am in Arizona. Although I also am based in Philadelphia on the other side, on the East Coast. So people know me in either of those places, and I will be traveling back and forth. Um, I'm mostly on social media right now, although I'm finally creating my website.
Yes.
So that's in the works, but you can best find me at Kimberly Beth Grentz, just no spaces. And that'll be linked
Yep.
below. I think my name at least is in there,
Yep.
both on Instagram and Facebook. And I do post a lot in there.
Beautiful. So if you'd like to work with Kimberly or like to work with me, we would love to connect with like-minded people and yeah, take this exciting adventure into new creative possibilities and see where we all end up.
For sure. We are linking arms and creating this new world. It's so exciting.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, Kimberly, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.